I'm Tom Griffeo with Dove Investment Research and Management. I'm here with my dear friend and partner,
Paul Avila.
And so we're here today to talk a little bit about risks for 2017, right?
Right.
So I think, Paul, you found this fantastic software program. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, what we've discovered in trying to go forward with the best technology in the industry is to utilize tools that can help us with client portfolios. And one in particular we're real excited about is Riskalyze. It enables us to, through a questionnaire, get some real personal information to see what your personal tolerance is, and then apply that to your portfolio and see how that works in different environments.
So we've just come off of 2016, which has been a fantastic year for market returns. No one going into 2016 with a tumultuous election expected, at the end of the year to look at an SP that was up about 12% on top of everything else, because it kind of was hanging out lower than that. And now we're coming into a new administration. I really happily call it 180 from the previous administration.
Absolutely.
Happily and fairly call it a 180 from the last, because we're having an inauguration party coming up here, and we're calling it Breakfast with the President. And what's the other term? Return to capitalism.
That's right.
It's a return to capitalism. So with the return to capitalism comes opportunity to have another good potential run. But we can't ignore the fact that we went up 12% last year, and that it's now 6-7 years into a bull cycle. How would Riskalyze kind of help anyone evaluate that?
Well, there's a number of exciting things we can do with Riskalyze. One is we can look at what the numbers are, but importantly, or with the changes with the Trump administration and just our economy and interest rates and a lot of things that will be changing, is how will this affect your current portfolio? And what we want to be able to do is take your information and what your holdings are and take a look at what will happen in various scenarios. One off the top of my head would be what's going to happen when interest rates start going up due to a growth in the economy and with the Fed raising rates, and what are your exposures? Or another way to put that is what will happen to your portfolio when it gets affected negatively when we have an increase in interest rates. And we want to be able to show you specifically, if you hold your portfolio in those positions, what it's going to look like.
Right. I mean, everyone always thinks so much about risk inside the stock market, but the bond market being huge and almost everyone having some level of bond exposure in any various different ways, the easy kind of train coming down the tracks to look at is certainly on the bond side. So we want to think about that and work with our clients on understanding their risk. But it's really a portfolio risk that this Riskalyze is able to look at, isn't it?
It is. In fact, there's two things. One is we look at every position that you have and look at what that risk is, and then look at combined in a portfolio and where it's blended together. And what we want to be able to do is adjust your portfolio to meet your expectations and what you're comfortable with. But it's also about avoiding the danger zones that we're looking at with this different economy, and avoiding that so it does not negatively affect your return. And with your overall portfolio, it'll enhance that and be a lot smoother going forward.
So I think that if you spend about 30 seconds on the internet now, you can find any sort of risk this, risk that, risk tolerance, robo this. There's all sorts of things that you can find out there that can, answer questions. I remember back when we were back at B of A back in the day, we had some investment that had 15 questions, and it comes out with a different type of analysis and all that back in the mid-90s when we were young and starting off. So I think the thing that I really am excited about in using this Riskalyze is it gives us a starting point for a conversation, and then we can use our 30 years of experience to continue that conversation with you, and then use that to really educate you and learn from you as well what you want us to learn, but also to use it as a conversation and not just take it from, let's say, a completely robotic situation, that there's really a human context to, and it's not a cookie cutter approach like so many places are just trying to shove people into cookie cutter solutions. That's not what we wake up every day trying to do, is shove people into cookie cutter solutions.
Right, and that's been really the problem of these questionnaires in the past, is they're very generic and they take time horizon into account. For example, if you have 30 years in retirement, that kind of throws you into something along with a few other items that everyone starts looking alike. And what we found is clients, when they experience a market downturn or something happens with their portfolio negatively, they weren't comfortable with that one bit. So these generic types of questionnaires really don't get the behavioral part involved,
Right.
And this does. It actually takes what you feel and it includes that in these numbers. So when something does get experienced, you anticipated that to begin with, and you're not surprised.
Right. And one of the most important things we can do as your advisor is to really understand you, your situation, and particularly your risk tolerance, where you're at in your life situation, pre-retirement, in starting retirement, post-retirement. We have all sorts of situations we deal with people at, but we really want to understand where you're at, and this is a great conversation starting point. There may be other things and other tools that we use along the way to understand your situation, but as far as a starting point, we couldn't recommend this anymore as a good place to start and then begin the conversation. How do people get started on this, Paul?
I agree. We just want to help you get an assessment going forward. It's the best thing to do for a new year, and by going on our website, you can click on the tool. It's called Riskalyze, and it's a stress test of your portfolio and a questionnaire of your personal beliefs. And it's about a 5-minute questionnaire, and we'll get that information and get that back out to you.
And we'll use that as a good starting point to go from
Yep.
there, contact you, and then work everything from there. You'll see a nice process where we've developed for you. We look forward to serving you. Again, I'm Tom Garfeo, Paul Avila, Dove Investments. We hope to talk to you soon.